What's good, folks? Welcome back to another What If. Yo, it's Dark Joy 19, and I believe this is a What If that I promised a while ago. What if Deku was in Uchiha, part 1, because this one's the one that won the poll. Yes, I know I have been out for a while, you know what I'm saying? I've been out for a hot minute, but I'm back, and it just be how it is, you know what I'm saying? It takes me a while to write these stories, you know what I'm saying? But anyway, let's start this joint as we start this story in a dark forest. The full moon is the only light as a small 6-year-old child, eyes glowing bright red, matched with the blood that covered his body. But the thing is, it's not his blood. His blood. And as a scar across his right eye, he would walk through the forest while being fought by a flock of ravens, all of them with the same eyes as the boy. Their beaks are covered in blood, as their red eyes watch every step the boy makes. But as the boy was losing what's left of his hope, his nose would pick up an amazing smell as it would lead him to a compound that shouldn't even be here. But the boy doesn't care at the moment, as he would enter the compound only to see a dojo-like palace as the young mentor. Somehow he feels that almost everyone is sort of asleep, as the only lights are on are the dim ones that usually come on at night. And the smell of the young man is following would finally lead him towards a kitchen-like area. And despite the boy not wanting to steal, his hunger says otherwise, as he would begin to eat his fill until as he hear footsteps coming across the hall, a door would slide open as a dark-toned, purple-haired girl steps in, who seems to be a year or two older than the young boy. As the two would stare at each other, as the purple-haired girl would speak up saying, "Hey, what the hell do you think you're doing?" As the young boy with bread in his mouth would try to say, "No, wait, I was just hungry." As the girl would yell out, "Thief!" as she would charge towards the red-eyed boy, as he would drop his food, jumping above the girl as she was coming in for a kick. And as she goes forward with that kick, she bounces off the wall all quickly as she tries to throw a few punches as the boy kind of blocks it. As a taijutsu battle between the two would occur. As it seems, the young man with his eyes is copying her moves. Not only copying her moves, but seeing them in a slow manner. But as you guys should know, with the, you know, you already know it's a fucking Sharingan. I don't even we already know how it works. But you know, we already know it only slows the perspective, but your body have to actually be fast enough to dodge it, you know what I'm saying? So even though the young man was able to dodge some of the girl's hit, not all of them were able to dodge, as she would end up with an uppercut across the boy's chin as he goes flying up in the air as the girl jumps up, boom, kicking him at the side of his stomach as he lands on the wooden floors, cracking it a bit, and you know, before he's able to even get up, the girl would land on his back, and put him in an arm hold, as you can say, UFC type shit. And you know, as the girl is about to break the boy's arm, a voice would yell out, as it's the leader of this little dojo. Or not a little dojo, or it's a compound, it's huge. So yeah, as the leader of this compound would yell out saying, "Yorichi, release the boy now." Which I think that's how you pronounce her name. As Yorichi would get off the boy, standing in attention, saying, "Master, this dirty thief was trying to steal our people's food." As she speaks up, saying, "I don't want to hear it, Yorichi. This is clearly a lost child looking for food." Food. But for now, as you know, sorry, I got a little distracted there. But as you know, the boy, hearing all this, as he's in his tiny little crater that the girl made, as he's, you know, kind of dozing off and off, as the master would look down upon the kid, saying, "I will put the boy to rest. You will return to your room and rest as well." As Yorichi would say, "Yes, ma'am," and head towards her room. So the master would pick up the unconscious boy, bringing him to her room so he can rest. And you know, as the master would you know sleep next alongside the boy, the master would notice the child clinging to her arm, which puts a smile on her face as she pulls him closer. And don't be thinking anything weird. You already know the ship. I always put it in the intro. So yeah, the next day, as the sun would rise and beam through the windows, it would hit the young boy as he wakes up, his red eyes darting across the room as the boy began to grab his head in pain, as he would see visions of several men who look similar to the boy would turn their gazes towards the child, saying the words, "You must revive our clan." As the child would just shake his head, wondering what those visions were, until someone would enter with kind of a smug face. As the young girl would say, "So, you're still here, Red Eyes?" As the young man, annoyed from hearing that, would say, "And you are?" It's like, "The name's Yurichi, Miss Inko's Midoriya's greatest student." And as the boy would merely, roll his eyes at the girl, hearing such nonsense, but he sort of had to believe such a statement since he pretty much got his ass kicked by the girl. But yeah, Yurichi would speak up, as she looks towards the red-eyed boy, saying, "But I'm not gonna lie, kid. Your taijutsu is pretty good. Not as good as mine, but decent." As the young man speaks up, saying, "I don't know who you're calling a kid. You're just a year older. I can just see that you're just a year older than me." As this doesn't really faze the purple-haired girl, saying, as she says, "Whatever, Red Eyes. Come on, get up. Miss Midoriya wants to speak with you." So, as the boy makes his way with Yurichi, he would notice the students training in the compound with techniques he has never seen before. As he unknowingly copy all of them with his eyes. As he would see, fireballs, earth walls, water dragon jutsus, and all that jazz. His eyes would copy them all. And finally getting towards their destination, Yurichi would open the door as she would gesture for the boy to head in. And as he steps in, the door would close right behind him, as he would see a beautiful green-haired woman cross-legged in the middle of the room. As the master would speak up, saying, "Yes, you're awake. Come, sit. Let me introduce myself. I am Inko Midoriya. What's your name?" As the young man would only look at Inko Midoriya with confusion as he would rub his head. It's like, forget about the name. Let me ask an important question instead. Do you know what you are? As the boy would shake his head, no. So Inko would pull out a mirror. As she said, well, from your battle, my student Yorichi, she has told me something that caught my interest, and from what I've seen, I believe she's right. So look towards the mirror and look at your eyes. I believe those are called the Sharingans. The Sharingan, a legendary dojutsu that belongs to the Uchiha clan, a clan I believe long dead until I've met you. You see, kid, a long time ago, our ancestors were actually ninjas, and everyone was equal during that time. But when quirks came around, the rest of the world would forget about ninjutsu, but not my family. Which is why we built this place. And why it seems so secret is the fact that people who learn ninjutsu are usually only after their own gain. And by most people, I mean villains. We're trying to keep it out of the hands of the villains, and honestly, we can't really much trust the heroes either with it. So the young man would speak up as he says, "Okay, Miss Midoriya, what does all of that and all of this have to do? All of this, or my ancestors have to do it?" As this won't only make Inko chuckle as she speaks up, saying, "Haven't you listened to a single word I said? You're an Uchiha. And, It seems your eyes haven't deactivated yet. That's what I've heard from. That's what I've read from the stories, that Uchihas can't really keep their eyes on for that long. But you must have a weird mutation with you, I guess. But if you don't mind me asking something, those scars on your body, where did you get them?" As the boy, who would look a little shocked, looks down upon his body, as he would see the scars Inko mentioned, as horrible memories would flood the boy's mind. Lab coats, scalpels cutting in him, needles needles everywhere, eyes in pain, and a black mask. As this would make the boy freak out as he clutches his head, as his eyes would glow a bright red as he screams in pain, which would catch the attention of those close to hearing the scream, especially Yorichi, as Inko would try to calm the boy down as she would bring him into a hug, as he could feel the child shaking, as she would say, it's okay, you don't have to talk about it now, but from now on, if you want, you can live with us, and I will teach you the way of a ninja. And not only that, I'll be more than happy to give you a name, if that's what you desire. As the pain would recede, the young man would look up towards Inko and give her a faint smile, which was pretty much the yes, the yes that she needed. So, time skip. I love my time skip. As a few years would pass, as a 10-year-old Izuku Midoriya Uchiha would be training under Inko and many of her older students, as this would incite jealousy among the younger students, as Inko have never taken a student as her child before, which sort of breeds isolation and hatred at Izuku. But this hatred mostly comes from the male students, as the female students are kind of head over heels for him. But Izuku isn't stupid. He knows they only care about his looks, which, kind of irritates him. Hell, the only ones Izuku truly trusts is his mother Inko and his self-proclaimed big sister Yorichi. Or that's just, what she likes to call herself. And, well, our boy Deku can't help but notice how Yorichi has developed. Even though, since he's, yeah, I know they're technically a bit young, but they're young at that time, at this point. But even during that time, boys would notice. But let's move on to Inko, who is right now combing Izuku's hair, or Deku, whatever. As Deku would speak up saying, Mr. Midoriya, I'm old enough to do this on my own. Do my own hair, right? As she speaks up saying, first of all, I told you to call me Ma. Second, I like doing your hair. Doing your hair. And besides, you can't. I know for a fact you can't do it as well as me. I mean, don't you want to impress everyone at school? Even young Yurichi? I was like, she means nothing to me. As Inko, seeing the embarrassment in Deku's stone-cold face, would begin to rub her face against his, as she would speak, saying, "Don't lie to me. I've seen how you two look at each other. I can't wait when you give me grandkids." As you know, even with such a stone cold face, he blushes slightly. But you know, this is pretty much how his life is. As our young man would put on his clothes, put on his clothing, and make his way through a compound. As he's been going to school as he goes to his first day of school. I don't know why he's going to his first day of school as a 10-year-old. It's just how it is. As he's going to the same school as Yurichi. And you should probably know what school she's been going to. I mean, I don't really know what it's called, but you know. But yeah. And anybody about the other compound? I know it's a compound of a bunch of old people. Who cares about them? They don't matter. But yeah, getting past all that nonsense, the two would be dropped off as Yurichi would wave goodbye to Inko, as she would kiss Deku on the forehead, telling him goodbye and telling Yurichi goodbye. As Yurichi would begin to poke fun of Deku, calling him a mama's boy, which only serves to, embarrass him. And so as the two would enter the school a bit late, mind you, as class would already be starting, Yurichi would bust through the door, as this would get almost everyone's attention, as the teacher would speak out saying, "Young Yurichi, could you please stop kicking down my door?" I was like, "Sorry, Teach. I'm just excited to introduce my baby step bro." As this would get everyone's attention, as they didn't really know that Yurichi had a younger brother, as Deku would just step in front of a class, as he puts his hand up in a slight wave, saying, "Yo, The name's Izuku Midori Uchiha. And that's all you're gonna get from me. Don't bother me. As you know, most of the students would be sort of interested in this young man, while one student would not like the look of this new guy, as he would stare a bit, too hard at Deku, as Deku would kind of notice this, but, ignore. And, the day at school would go on as Deku would be getting a lot of attention as he's able to show his intelligence, getting all the answers correct. If when PE happens, he's able to show his athleticism, if that's a word. As he's, pretty much a beast at almost any sport or physical activity. And during this whole time, Gurichi would be kind of instigating this whole thing as she purposely would be complimenting Deku on every achievement he makes, because she knows this kind of gets under most of the guys' skin, you know what I'm saying? Because she's a cat. She likes to play around. Well, she's not a literal cat, but you know what I mean. Well, technically, she can turn into a cat, but that's not the point. That's not the point. It's the fact that she likes to play around, and she knows not one guy here that'll be able to take on Izuku, so she knows he'll be fine. And as the day goes on, and Deku being praised by his teachers, and most of the females wanting his attention. This would only work to irritate someone, as when the teacher finally leaves, as the teacher would kind of step out to the bathroom or some shit, whatever. A spiky yellow-haired boy would step up towards Deku's desk as he slams his hand on it, getting Deku's attention. As the boy would look towards Izuku saying, "Hey, pretty quirk." As Izuku saying, "You talking to me?" As the young man's like, "Of course I'm talking to you. What, you deaf or something?" As Izuku's like, "No, that's not the case. But who the anyway?" It's like, I go, fuck. Sorry, I dropped my phone. I'm glad you asked. I'm Koski Bakugo, top dog in this classroom, and don't you forget it. Now, what the hell is your... As you know, Deku would sort of think on this, as he knows that he doesn't have a quirk. So he sort of has to, he's trying to think about something as Yorichi would speak up, saying his quirk is called chakra. Huh? As Bakugo would look towards him, saying, huh? The hell is chakra? It's a type of quirk that where he's able to do all sorts of abilities, as you can say. As a student would kind of speak up, saying, wait, you mean his one quirk makes it seem as he has multiple quirks? As Yorichi would say, yep. As she would just, wink at Deku. As he would, slightly smile, happy that Yorichi was able to cover for her. As Baku would speak up, saying, bullshit. You don't got no quirk like that. As Yorichi would say, of course he does. Show them some stuff, Izuku. As Izuku would get up, saying fine. As he would, go through a few hand signs. As he fireball at a clear area, making sure it didn't hit nobody. Then he go through a few more hand signs. As outside he would create an earth wall, and then he would grab his left hand would grab his right arm, as electricity would pulse through his hand, which you can probably tell, the lightning blade or Shidori, whatever. I don't really see any difference between the two. As this would, pretty much wow everyone. As this serves to, only make Bakugo jealous. As he would look towards Deku, it's like, whatever. It's not as good as my quirk. As explosions would be setting off in his hand. As Deku would just only roll his eyes at it, as he just sits back down chilling, which pisses off Bakugo as he feels that Deku's ignoring him. But before he can retaliate, the teacher would step back in, telling Bakugo to get back into his seat as the class would go on. So yeah, this is pretty much our boy Deku's life. Training with his adopted mother Inko, being teased by Yorichi, who Deku is slowly developing a crush on, you know, dealing with the nightmares in his head, and also dealing with the annoyance that jealous guys and Bakugo and pretty much, you know, just trying to go about his day. As we finally time skip to the beginning of the anime, as our boy Deku is 15, and he looks exactly how you see in the picture. As you know, Deku is making his way through the compound, trying to meet up with Yoruichi so they can make their way to their last day of school. But, you know, before he can leave, a group of boys would get in his way. As Deku, not trying to start a fight here, would speak up saying, "Didn't my mother say that you asswipes need to keep away from me?" As you know, a few ravens would flock around him. As one of the dudes will say, "Yeah, but that's the problem. What makes you so special that our sensei have adopted you as a child?" It's like, her reasons for taking me in is her own. So I'm just gonna say it once. Get out of my way or you're gonna regret this. As in, you know, another bully would say, "We're not going anywhere, dude." As he would, you know, slam his fists together, as all of them are ready for a fight. Because asshole bullies be like that. As Deku, not wanting to hear this crap, would just, you know, flash his eyes at the boys, as he would put them in a powerful genjutsu, which, you know, on the outside, it seems that they just, you know, passed out. But on the inside, they're, you know, kind of going through some shit that I don't want to mention. So, you know, moving on from that, Deku would meet up with Yoruichi, who truly developed into a, you know, beautiful young woman. As the two would head out. And, you know, let's not waste any time. As, you know, the two are sitting in class, as the teacher would do the same shit he always does, talking about future careers, but everyone wants to be a hero. And, you know, Bakugo does the typical, "Don't lump me with these rejects, teach, I'm the real deal, blah blah blah." You know how it is. As, you know, the teacher say, "Bakugo, seems like you're going to UA, correct?" It's like, "Yeah, it's the only place for me." But it seems that Izuku and Yoruichi are going to UA as well. And, you know, Bakugo, hearing this, hearing that Deku and Yoruichi would be joining UA, which UA only enrages him because those two have been showing him up ever since they got. Well, Yoruichi has been showing he's been showing Bakugo up at the beginning of school, and Deku joining up only made it worse. Only made it worse because at this point they're seen as top dog in the class, which, you know, forced him to stop his little bullying act altogether. And, you know, as much as he wants to, you know, complain and bash Deku's head in, he has been noticing that, you know, Yoruichi has been, you know, a little protective over Deku. And, you know, no matter how many fights, how many times he tries to get in a fight with Deku, Yoruichi would, you know, always step in between them and end up whooping Bakugo's ass. But, and, you know, today is no different, as, you know, the school the school thing would end. Everyone would be, you know, talking about how Bakugo, Yoruichi, and Deku is, you know, joining UA, as, you know, some of the girls were also thinking about joining UA just so they can, you know, try to have, you know, Deku notice them, but some of them feel a bit threatened by Yoruichi being there, as she, you know, just looks better than them in every way. And so that's, you know, that's just how it is. As let's just say, Izuku and Yoruichi are trying to make their way out, as Bakugo would, you know, step in, which would get most of the class's attention, as Bakugo would speak up towards Izuku, saying, "You can't join UA," as this would, you know, only confuse Deku, as you say. Why? Because I'm going to UA. They don't need trash like you. Trash like me. Bakugo, I don't want to deal with this nonsense. Get out of my way. As Bakugo would, you know, flare up with a few explosions, saying, No, Deku. You're not getting out of this one. As Yoruichi noticing this is like, "Oh, Bakugo, you want another ass whooping?" As she, you know, kind of cracks her knuckles, as Bakugo was saying, "No, you stay out of this. This is between me and him. We're gonna fight right now, Deku." As Deku would, you know, looked upon, kind of look towards this look, which kind of bores him, but not like to a boring state. It's just the fact that he's not bored of fighting. He enjoys fighting, but he's getting, sort of tired of Bakugo's tough guy act. You know what I'm saying? But he would see the excitement in everyone else's eyes, and Deku, not wanting to ruin this show, would say, "Fine, let's take this outside, Bakugo. No need to fight in the class." As Deku would Deku's entire body would turn into, similar to, you already know how Itachi kind of disappears with his flock of crows. Deku's body would kind of, engulf itself, turning into a flock of ravens flying outside the window, which amazes all the kids seeing this and only irritates Bakugo as he, heads out. Yoruichi body flickering towards the field alongside everyone else. Not everybody body flicker because they're not ninjas. you know what I mean. So yeah, Deku is standing there in the field. Bakugo finally makes it there, as the rest of the class would be watching this excited, as Yoruichi would just, be watching on top of a tree. As Bakugo is like, "I've been waiting for this nerd. It's time to get even." As Deku would, only square up as you square up, ready to take on Bakugo. As the two would charge towards each other, Bakugo would try to, do a few, boxer swings on Deku here and there, and, shooting explosions, as Deku would easily dodge this shit easily. Boom, boom. Hitting him with that two-piece. You know what I'm saying? Think of the Naruto Baron mode versus that white dude, whatever that painted. I don't know his name, because that shit was fire. But yeah, it's pretty much that fight, as Deku would, easily go in, boom, 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 bink, kicking him in the head or whatnot. As this only serves to irritate Bakugo, as he, trying to fire a bit more explosions. But Deku would easily keep dodging this. As Bakugo would finally get a lucky hit in, as Deku would kind of go flying back, tumbling towards the ground, as Bakugo is sort of excited, almost about to claim that he won, until Deku turned into a flock of ravens. As we as the audience knows that was pretty much a shadow clone. Well, us and Yoruichi, as two hands would pop out from the ground as it grabs Bakugo's leg, pulling him down, as Deku would pop out of the ground, which would surprise everyone. As Bakugo, irritated, is like, What the hell did you do, you slow nerd? Get me out of this now. As Deku would just pretty much bink, curve stomp Bakugo, knocking him out as he's in the hole, as he's, you know, still in the hole. As, you know, some of his goons would come in, try to get him out, as Yoruichi would be following Deku as he makes his leave. So yeah, not really much of a long fight, but why would Deku drag it out? Drag it out. But yeah. The two would talk about their, you know, about what they're trying to do in UA. Yoruichi always wanted to be, you know, a hero like her, just like her favorite hero, fudge, I forgot her name. Mirako. No, I don't think that's her name. The bunny chick. That's one of Yoruichi's favorite hero, as the two are similar. Not by skin tone, if that what you assholes are thinking. But, you know, by you know, strength and all. And Deku's only being a hero because Yoruichi talked them into doing it. But yeah. Let's not waste any time. They go under the bridge, since Deku does, since they don't really live in that same place Deku does. They live in that compound in the forest. So yeah, they wouldn't really go under the bridge, so they wouldn't meet All Might as he, you know, chases the sludge villain. And, you know, they would pretty much be in a compound, and for the 10 months, the two would train to perfect the skills they have. And yeah, the 10 months are over. 10 months are over. As the two would be making their way towards UA, as Yoruichi's blood is pretty much boiling as she's you know, thinking about that she's finally going to achieve her, you know, long wanted dream, alongside, you know, someone who can actually give her a challenge, and, you know, someone she can actually call a friend. And pretty much those two would, you know, kind of get a lot of attention as they finally get towards UA. As you already know, Richi's a baddie, as this would, you know, get a lot of attention from the guys, but most of them would see that she's walking next to Deku, which irritates them to no end. And, you know, it's kind of saddens them because they see how our boy be looking. He got them good genes. You know what I'm saying? As these, you know, good genes would get the attention of most girls. Especially a brown-haired one. But which we already know who she is. And since Deku didn't trip, they didn't really met yet. So yeah. The two would go inside UA, as President Mike would be. Sorry, I yawned. Would be explaining what everyone would be doing as everybody, they first take the writing test. And as we all know, our boy Itachi was top tier of the writing joint alongside Minato. So you already know that. Deku came first in the writing test portion. Of course, he won't know that until, it gets reviewed. So yeah, we move on from the writing joint because that's fucking boring. Everybody gets a certain number or whatever joint that tells them to go to this certain room in order to start their next test. And since Izuku and Yoruichi and Bakugo are from the same school, they won't be in the same area. They won't be in the same area, because that's how they did it, My Hero. So of course we'll be looking through Deku's perspective of the test. As he would make it towards the area, as President Mike would already explain the robots, and a certain tall boy with glasses would complain about a certain 0-pointer that President Mike was going to mention, but he interrupted. But yeah, that's how it goes, as Deku is sort of looking around this waiting room, interested on how different it is from his home, as the compound is mostly of wood. Think of the Uchiha compounds, as you can say. Of course, it has modern type joint in it, but it's mostly of a traditional Japanese household, as you can say. So Deku is just looking around, as this place is kind of huge, as he would also notice the flirtatious stares he would be getting from the girls in this room, as he would kind of ignore this. But there is one kid who does notice this, and we should know him by the name of Ida. As this kind of irritates him, as he feels that this kid is distracting everyone who should be focusing on the test that's about to begin. So Deku would still be looking around, until he would see a girl who was at the front, who was at, the front of the room, a bit nervous as, Deku, who is, a nice, even though he seems cold on the outside, he is a nice person, as he would, he would try to make his way towards the brown-haired girl until someone would stick out their hand in front of him, as Deku would look towards the boy, as Ida would speak up saying, "I know you're not about to go and sabotage that poor girl, are you? The last thing she needs is your distraction. Your distraction. She's trying to focus, you know that?" As Deku would speak up saying, no, from what I've seen, she's sort of freaking out over there. And I was gonna go help her out. Or, at least speak with her. As Ida is like, I cannot allow that. You've been a distraction ever since you step inside of this room. So I would suggest that, but before Ida was able to finish that sentence, he was caught up in a genjutsu, as it looks like he's just standing there. But in his head he's saying his whole stupid little speech, but on the outside he's just standing there, as Deku would walk past him as he looks towards the brown-haired girl, saying, "You all right?" As she would look towards Zuko, and would begin to blush hard, which puts her in a kind of a stupor. But he's stupor, as this sort of confuses Zuko, as Zuko, not knowing personal space, would kind of put his forehead on her forehead and saying like, "Are you sick or something?" As this only serves to turn the girl absolutely beat red, which only weirds Deku out, as the girl would finally speak up saying, "I'm okay." As Deku's like, "Oh, good. You better be okay, because this test is about to start, and we don't need anyone getting hurt." As the door would, finally open, as the, brown-haired girl, as we all know as Ochako, would, kind of slap her face to, focus a bit more, as she runs out alongside everyone else. As Zuko getting his bearings, as he has his eyes closed, releasing Ida from the genjutsu, then dashing outside with great speed, as some of the heroes would notice, as one of them is like, "Does that kid has a super speed quirk?" But those thoughts of a super speed quirk would quickly be dashed away, as Deku would destroy a few robots with ease, with great skill, great, skill of taijutsu and all. As he also used ninjutsu as fireballs easily melting through these robots. As this really gets, the teachers this gets a lot of attention from the teachers, as Deku, be flipping through these robots attacked. One would, try to get a swing, but Deku easily seen that with his eyes, would, dodge under, boom, kicking the robot's arm off, and boom, kicking his head off, and jumping off the destroyed robot, throwing through a few hand signs, and firing a Phoenix Fireball jutsu at multiple robots, destroying them both. As he goes through, absolutely wrecking these robots, getting a whole bunch of points. And Nezu, noticing this absolute destruction, would finally push the big red button, as students would be running past Deku afraid as this would sort of gets his attention, wondering what's going on, until he would see a huge robot that towers over most of the buildings, which sort of freaks Deku out a little, until he would hear cries for help. As with his vision, he's able to spot a brown-haired girl under some rubble, as he quickly dashes towards the girl, or Ochako, picking her up, then running, jumping on some buildings and setting her down. As the zero pointer is only getting closer and closer, as Deku's like, screw it, I'm gonna have to deal with this. As he closes his eyes, then opening his right eye, blood would drip out of it, as in his head he would say Amaterasu, as black flames would begin to consume this zero pointer until it's pretty much absolutely just a molten pile of steel, which would amaze all the heroes and all the students who were watching this. And pretty much after that, the President Mike would call in everybody, as it's pretty much over and everyone has to head home. So yeah, I think I will leave it off there. So thank you for listening, and goodbye.